bit of a change of scenery. I think you and I were getting kind of tired of me sitting at the table. And although I love our little table talks, but sometimes I just need to stand up. But that's not why I'm here right now. I don't want to have a discussion with you about the benefits of sitting versus standing, because I'm fairly certain you do neither. You just kind of float up in the ether. Over the last weekend, I had a little bit of a vacation. I went to visit my in-laws. And I've been writing the sequel to The Dark Seduction. The working title, which I'm hoping will be the title. I have to get the approval of the band. Working title is Dead Twin Sister. Prior to going on vacation, I felt like I was not stuck, because I don't ever really get stuck. I don't suffer from writer's block. I felt like what I was writing was, I don't know if you would call it uninteresting, or, well, I had written myself into this metaphorical corner with the very premise of the book. And I don't need to explain it to you, because you're kind of the one that gave me the inspiration. But just in case there are other people listening into our conversations, I don't want to give anything away about the book. But needless to say, it was becoming very challenging. And so I went for the vacation, and I always like to write while I'm in different locations. I feel like the change of scenery will lend a certain level of inspiration that my normal surroundings doesn't lend. So I got all excited thinking that I was going to go down there and figure out all my problems with this book. And so they live in a very hot part of the country. And so while my wife and her mother were out doing things, I took my laptop and walked down to the waterfront and sweat my balls off and tried to write. And I did that, I think, 3 days in a row. And I started getting a little desperate, because I went into it. I approached this idea of writing with this expansive arena, this wonderful, beautiful surroundings. I went into that knowing that I was having problems and that this was going to be my solution. And so I forced it. And every time I would finish with that writing session, I would go back thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And so, of course, as normal, the brain kicked in and I started overthinking everything. And while I wasn't writing, I was thinking about it, and I could not let it go. And the more I thought about it, the more complex the issue became. And I couldn't solve my problem. So finally, on the last day, I grabbed my laptop and I walked down to the usual place. And as I was walking, I was listening to a band I like, 311, because they're really chill and they're a lot of fun and they're very positive. And I just lost myself into their music. And as I was getting lost in that music, I thought, I just need to let go of this. I just need to let go of this and do the one thing that I have done for years, and certainly it will pay off. And that one thing is to just trust myself and trust you, my muse. And lo and behold, I went down there to that writing session knowing that I was just going to let go and let trust, as it were. And it came. I wrote myself out of that corner, metaphorical as it were, and the story just kind of came back to me, and I realized that what I thought was a challenge was actually a gift from you. And so it was a normal, length writing session. I got a few more words than normal, and I set it aside and came back home. And the next session after that, when I started writing, everything just flowed like normal. All I had to do was trust in my instincts, as it were. And I find that, that was how I was as an actor. The second I would start overthinking everything, I would break that relationship of trust I had, and everything would fall to pieces. And so I would have to back away from it and realize that what I was doing was not allowing trust to be a part of the equation. And I think that every artist has to have a certain level of trust. Otherwise, they're going to constantly struggle. And I think, and I've been very vocal about this, that I don't believe that writer's block is really a thing. And for the longest time, I thought, well, what writers were doing when they were suffering from what they thought was writer's block was writing against their voice, or writing something they shouldn't be writing at that time. But I think now, after this last weekend, I think that what writer's block is a situation when a writer stops trusting their instinct. Because your instinct is going to tell you what to write. It's going to be channeled from your muse, from you, through this massive universal filter, and it's going to come out. And as long as you're trusting, as long as that doorway is open to trust, the words will flow. And the second you close that doorway, the words will stop. And you will fight it. And as anybody who has ever created anything artistically knows, when you start fighting it, start fighting yourself, start fighting your instinct, everything you produce is flawed. It doesn't mean it's worthless, because you can always go back once the gates are open, gates to trust, that is, and you can rework it. Because I'm of the opinion that you should always, every day, write. And some days you're going to write crap. And that's okay, because when you go back to look at what you wrote the previous day, even when it's crap, you're going to find a little nugget of gold, a little nugget of corn or a peanut that can be recycled. I know that was a gross analogy. I apologize, Muse. I know your sensibilities are a bit higher than that, but there you go. What was I saying? I got sidetracked by corn and peanuts. Anyway, you can go back and pick out those golden nuggets and rework everything around them. So, in the end, trust. I trust you, Muse. I trust you fully. I know that you are always going to deliver the goods, even when the air conditioning kicks on. I apologize. It's really hot outside. But I trust you, and 99% of the time I trust myself and my instinct. But when that 1% kicks in, it's a fight. It's a struggle. The struggle is real. But you just have to step back and know that even when you're struggling, you can get through it. And the key to getting through it is trusting your instincts. Sometimes it's hard. Because especially when imposter syndrome kicks in, when that happens, that whole trust thing is completely broken. But you can get through it. Okay? But know this, Muse. And I know that a lot of what I'm saying really kind of skirts around you and goes right back to my fellow artists. But know that I do trust you. I trust the ideas that you give me, and know that as long as I follow my instincts, so that I could turn them into something viable. So this isn't about you. It's not about you. It's about me. It's about me. It's my fault. Anyway, thank you for you trusting in me and believing in me long enough that, and knowing that I would eventually get through this issue. Okay? We good? We good? Need a hug, Muse? Need a hug? Come on, bring it in. Bring it in for a hug. Come on.